Okay, so one more video today. I don't think will hurt anybody. In this one, we want to speak a little bit about Russia and what an ugly, evil empire she has. Now, Russia began the 20th century with a lot of upheaval, a lot of challenges, a lot of conflicting ideologies penetrating her soul. And after having been abused by her own royal family for too long, she decided to take matters into her own hands and govern herself without the aid of any king, or czar, or anyone at all, or any god. They canceled God. They did everything to just the opposite of whatever they did before. Try that, hope and pray it works. And it didn't work. They finally came to that conclusion. I think it was about 1991 or whenever the Berlin Wall came down, and communism was officially defeated. But in the hearts and the minds of our Russian folks, the lesson, the unifying principles of communism still burn with a lively flame. An acute sense of justice reigns in that country today, and they're a country of obedience to their own laws. They're not like the United States and the West. They craft laws that they have no intention of breaking if they can in any way avoid it, whereas the whole principle of law in the West is for the high priests of the law, the so-called lawyers. The purpose of studying the law is to be able to break it with impunity, quoth John Campbell, QC, one of our best friends in our early time here in this incarnation. Best friend I ever had, really. He was gay too, but nobody knew it. Not even me until just recently. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He was there for me, and I was there for him. But small-minded, mediocre, jealous creeps will sleaze or ooze their way into anything that's vital and real and seek to destroy it. One real sad Chinaman, Mr. Harry Liu, was jealous of my relationship with my best friend, and so did everything he could to destroy it, to the point where the last time I called John, he asked me, please don't call here anymore. And I knew it was not him speaking to me. And this happens with countries as well. Like, at some point in everyone's life, they have weak moments. And when you have people congealing in secret societies like the CIA, for instance, born with a loss-seeking hunger to keep all the other nations in check, because I know I'm going to grow up to be impotent. I'm going to get so lazy that I'm not going to be able to defend myself against any reasonable postulates whatsoever. So I have to destroy human reasoning. And that's what they've set out to do. Mikey Pompeo is a great and perfect example of a boy who claims to be a Catholic, I believe. Almost as Catholic as Nancy Pelosi. He uses the Pope to punch the fuck out of her bishop. Anyway, that's just a sideshow. The point is that Russia had to go through a real humbling experience before it would click in. She needs to adjust, become flexible, give up worshiping her ideology and return to God. There's nurture in divine intercourse that the West is doing without currently. I watched it happen myself in his own one very present incarnation for me. I remember the day God got canceled. He might bother somebody. It might, who knows? So we'll just cancel him so nobody has to deal with God anymore. And I mentioned at the time, is this going to be expensive? I don't know how expensive, but it's not going to be cheap. And take a look around you today, and tell me how you're enjoying it so far. You know, when you give a disadvantaged folk power, it fucks them up. Like these fake Jews, you know, like homosexuals. It's just love us the right to marry and we'll shut up, won't say anything more. Now they have to participate in these clowns' fantasy lives. If you don't, you're an asshole, or you're prejudiced, or some gruesome specimen of human life that's beneath contempt. If you don't get busy with my pronouns and my indulge in my fantasy life. There's two sexes on this planet, boys and girls. You may not have noticed this, but that's the reality. You're free to fantasize any goddamn thing you please. And there's no one with the prerogative to interfere with that. Where it becomes my business is when you start enforcing your fantasies on my reality and expect me to convert from my reality to your fantasies. And you know, that can work with a few, you know, loose-witted mondo clunts that are, you know, happening around every civilization. Those useless, you know, what do they call them? Useless feeders, I think they're referred to them as. Anyway, the mediocre folk who are upset about being mediocre and want to gain altitude through lies or through pompous predilections that have no foundation in reality, and their prophecies are all watered down to failure 100% of the time. Elon Musk is a pontificator of everything in any way. He's ever born political, holy, doesn't matter. He's the expert. Just ask him. He'll have you farming on Mars before your head's turned. Just that these people are too self-absorbed to give a shit about anyone else. They're busy defending their lies. It's a full-time goddamn job. Have you not noticed yet? Anyway, Russia, all she wanted to do was do business with you. She didn't want to fuck up your ideology. You can do whatever you want. Just don't get any on her. Please, keep it to yourselves. No, that wasn't good enough. They had to submit to the noble Jerry Nadler and Nancy Pelosi holding hands, but only in the cloakroom behind closed doors. And they're smoosing it up with Trump in the back room too. You want to bet? It's a one-party system they have in the United States, kiddies. It's a sad, sad day, and all Russia ever wanted to do was business with you. Ever since she came clean of her communist stuff and understood that they were wrong, they admitted they were wrong, they apologized for the wrongdoings they've done, and we're seeking to make amends and develop a fresh new relationship with the rest of my world by providing you economies with the things you needed most. But you failed to recognize that, polluted as you were, through the office of Joe Biden's wet dream. He wants to conquer my world and rule it with impunity and no laws of any kind whatsoever, save the ones he makes up as he goes along. And so, the Nigolanton misfits that are reigning supreme in the West today conclude that, well, we'll just bomb them to death, and that's simple. Get rid of them, just like the Jews are doing with the Palestinians. But the Palestinians are disadvantaged folk, and those are the people that the United States has expertise in going to war with. People who can't fight back. She has zero experience fighting a peer adversary. And believe you me, Russia is more than a peer adversary to the United States currently. And I think it's going to stay that way for quite some time. The United States has sold her dominion for herself for a paltry price, and now she's subject to every demented whim of every petty potentate like Benjamin Nasty Yehu or John Bolton or Victoria Nuland, the expert in war come extraordinaire, but only if you're looking to lose your wars, or you fight for clowns. with no empathy, no wit, and no originations for at least 100 years, making the same mistakes consistently, over and over and over again with every goddamn thing they do. Even more, they're stupid. And each lie they sell, author, or purchase makes them stupider, and you too. That's one of the facts of love, Kitty, and life. And it's also a metaphysical law. That which I crave to do unto others will be done unto me if I have to do it my own stupid self. Might want to wake up from this woke dream infesting my West dominions. Might be an idea. You might even want to listen to your king once in a while. How could it hurt?